Hi friends of Jubilee Plus, welcome to this week's Monday Mercy. You know, we've been told for months and months now, haven't we, that this coming winter, the lives of the poorest and those who are just about managing, those who are already struggling, are going to get harder. We're being told that energy bills are actually going to go up much more than was even predicted. And I think if ever there was a time for us to ask ourselves the question, how are we going to be increasingly merciful to those around us? It's right now. Have you taken the time to think about that question? I know it's so hard, isn't it? Because we're busy, life rumbles on from day to day, and we can find ourselves weeks or months down the line having not really taken stock, not given ourselves that time and space. I know I feel like that. I'm involved in my local church where I oversee 8 social action projects, and each of them is just busy and they just keep going and they keep going, and that's great that we can do that, but often we don't get time to sit and take stock. And that's true in church life in general, I think in all sorts of areas, and it can even be true as for us as individual Christians as well, is when do we sit still and take stock? We recently had our first Jubilee Plus Partner Church Day, where we gathered some of the people in leadership from our partner churches to think through some of the issues around what's facing us this coming winter, what's facing the people in our communities who are struggling. You know, we all know people, maybe you're one of them, who are thinking, how am I going to cope this winter when my bills go up again? If food prices keep going up, as they're predicted to do, if petrol continues to rise, if the cost of living in general just continues to skyrocket in the way that it's been doing. And of course, the government has provided some help. But actually, even since that happened, we're being told that bills are going to be a lot more than was anticipated. So have you taken some time to take stock, whether that's as an individual Christian, someone who might be influential or in leadership in a church or in social action projects? Have you been thinking this through? Because I'm struck in Genesis, what we see. Let me read this to you. Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went through all the land of Egypt. Basically, he went and he surveyed the land. And during the 7 plentiful years, the earth produced abundantly. And he gathered up all the food of these 7 years, which occurred in the land of Egypt, and put the food in the cities. He put in every city the food from the fields around it. And Joseph stored up grain in great abundance, like the sand of the sea, until he ceased to measure it, for it could not be measured. And basically, this is all what he does before the famine comes. So God has spoken to him, as you'll recall, well, he's spoken to Pharaoh through dreams, and Joseph's interpreted them and said there's going to be a time of plenty and then a time of famine. Do you know, I think God always speaks to his people. I think he always tells us what's about to come. And I think so often I don't know if you're anything like me, we hear it, we agree with it, we believe it's the word of the Lord to us, we nod along and we go, yep, okay, kind of like good to know. And then we don't do anything. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I'm worried about my sense of, it's not apathy because I care deeply, but it's a sense of just, okay, well, I'll get to it when I've got time. And actually, I believe that the reason God speaks to his people, we see that in the New Testament too, in the book of Acts, where he speaks to, through the prophet Agabus about a famine. And again, preparation is made. We are supposed to prepare. That's why God speaks to us, so that we can actually prepare for what's coming. So let me ask you a question. If the needs around you, in your street, in your family, in your church, in your community, if those needs around you go up by even 5% this winter, how are you preparing for that? If they go up 10% or 20%, what do you need? What do you need to put in place? It's easy to look and go, well, we can't. We're already maxed out. Our resources, we're full. Well, ask yourself the question, what do you need? And then the second question is, okay, how can we go about trying to get it? Or how can we at least be praying it in? It's really important for us to ask this question. If the needs around us are going to go up, which actually you don't need to be a prophet to be told that's going to happen, because we're being told it from in every direction. If the needs around us are going to go up, what do we need to do? What do I need to do as an individual Christian? What do I need to be thinking about in terms of my time, my skills, my money, any resources that I've got, any possessions that I've got? How do I need to be thinking now about what I'm going to use everything God has blessed me with to help and serve other people for this winter? But that applies to us on a project level, on ministry level, on church level as well. How are we going to prepare? I just want to urge you and encourage you to take time to think this through before it's too late, before we just have to react to whatever comes. You know, local authorities at the minute are saying they're expecting a tidal wave of need to do with people becoming homeless. What are we going to do as individuals? Let's take our responsibility seriously. We are the people of God. We need to be seeking him now, saying, God, what do I need to do now to prepare for this winter? What do I need to do as someone who maybe has influence in a project or a ministry or a church? Maybe even in the community as a whole. Let's ask ourselves that question this week. How can we show the mercy of God this winter? God has told us what's coming. Experts are telling us what's coming. How can we prepare to be increasingly merciful, for our mercy to be new every day, just like God's is, this winter?